homework on verifying inverses. So first we're going to do this one. Now I am going to do f of h of x to test out to see. So f of h of x, so that essentially means I am plugging all of this in for x. So we're going to get -2 in parentheses 4/5 x minus 8/5 plus 8. We are going to be distributing, so we're going to get -8/5 x plus 16/5 plus 8. So I'm going to stop right there because I already can see from this thing, you guys, that you're not going to get an inverse. So this one's going to be a no. Number 2, I'm going to do... Now you could go either way, you guys, because remember, you're trying to get x. So I'm going to do f of g of x first. So that's plugging in all of this in for x, right? So we're going to get -2 in parentheses all of g of x. So we're going to get, distribute, -2 times -1/2 is 1, so just x. -2 times -1/2 is just +1, -1. So that's x. Now I should just go ahead and test to see if g of f of x works. So now we're plugging all of this in for that. So -1/2 in parentheses -2x minus 1 minus 1/2, which is equal to distribute -1/2 times -2 is an x. -1/2 times a -1 is a +1/2 minus 1/2, which is equal to x. So yes, these are inverses because they're both x. Alright, number 3. I'm gonna do f of g of x. So all of this, substitute into there. 2x minus 1 plus 1 all over 2, which is equal to 2x. The ones cancel, -1 and 1 cancel, so just that, and that's that. So good. And now we'll do g of f of x. Substituting all of this in for there. So we're going to have 2 times x plus 1 all over 2 minus 1. So those 2's are going to cancel. So we're going to get x plus 1 minus 1, which is just x. So are these inverses? Yes. Number 4. Let's do f of g of x. I'm going to substitute all of g of x in for that x. So -2 in parentheses -4 minus x all over 2 minus 4. So these 2's are going to cancel, but there's still a negative sign out there. So distribute that negative sign to both of these. So -1 times -4 is 4. -1 times -x is x minus 4. And that's going to give us x. Now let's test g of f of x. Okay, so g of f of x, that means we're substituting our f of x in for g of x. So we're going to get -4 minus -2x minus 4 all over 2. Now we're going to distribute this negative sign to both of these. So we're going to get negative 4. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2x. Negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4 all over 2. The 4's are going to cancel, so you just have 2x over 2, which is just x. Are these inverses? Yes. Alright, 5. I'm going to do f of g of x. So substituting all of this in for that x. So you guys are going to get 1 plus 4/5 in parentheses 5/4 x minus 5/4. You're going to distribute, which is equal to 1 plus 4/5 times 5/4, you guys, is just 1, so it's just going to give you x. 4/5 times negative 5/4 is negative 1, and that's just going to be x. G of f of x, substituting this whole thing in for that x. So we're going to get 5/4 in parentheses 1 plus 4/5 x minus 5/4. Distribute. 5/4 times 1 is 5/4. 5/4 times 4/5, that's just 1, so it just leaves you x minus 5/4, and that's just x. Are these inverses? Yes. Number 6. F of h of x. So I'm going to be substituting h of x all in for f. So that's going to equal 2x plus 4 all over 3 minus 5. I'm going to make this into a fraction, get a common denominator. 2x plus 4 minus 15 all over 3, which is equal to 2x minus 11 over 3, and that's certainly not x. So this is a big no. Not inverses. 7. F of g of x. Substitute g of x in for that x for f. So we're going to get 7 in parentheses 2x plus 17 all over 7 minus 17 all over 2. These 7's will cancel, so then you guys just get 2x plus 17 minus 17 all over 2. These cancel, so all you have is 2x over 2, which is simply just x. So that worked out. Now let's do the other way around. This whole thing and substitute it in for there. Oh, buddy. Oh. Dude. Alright, here we go. G of f of x is equal to 7x minus 17 all over 2 plus 17 all over 7. These 2's are going to cancel, so you guys are just going to get 7x minus 17 plus 17 all over 7. These are going to cancel, so we're going to get 7x over 7, which is just x. So are these inverses? Yes. Over here, f of h of x, gonna substitute all of h of x into here. So we're gonna get negative 3 times negative 5 over 3x plus 5 plus 3. We're gonna distribute. Alright, negative 3, these cancel. Okay, so yeah, when we do negative 3 times negative 5/3, you guys, these cancel, so it's just negative 1 times negative 5, and that's just going to give you 5x. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15 plus 3, and as you guys can see, this is not going to be an inverse, so this is going to be a big fat no, because it has to equal to x, right? Number 9. So we will do, what did we do last time? I don't even remember. Okay, so we'll do f of g of x. Okay, so f of g of x, that means we substitute all of this into there. So we're going to get 2 all over 4 out of x plus 1 minus 2 minus 3 minus 2. So we're going to get 2 all over 4 out of x plus 1 minus 5 minus 2. So we got to get this 5 to have a common denominator. We have to get this to be one nice clean fraction combined. So we got to multiply top and bottom by x plus 1. 2 all over, okay, so 4. Okay, negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. All over the common denominator of x plus 1, all minus 2. Moving this over here. Okay, so we got 4 minus 5, so we're going to simplify that. So 2 all over negative 5x minus 1 all over x plus 1 minus 2. Now, when you guys have a fraction over a fraction, what you really do is you just multiply this one to the top so that we just have one fraction. So 2 times x plus 1 all over negative 5x minus 1 minus 2. Distribute the 2 to both of these. So we're going to have 2x plus 2 all over negative 5x minus 1 minus 2. So we're going to combine this minus 2 now to both of them. So multiply top and bottom by negative 5x minus 1. So we're going to get 2x plus 2. This is all going to be over negative 5x minus 1. Alright, negative 2 times negative 5x is 10x. Negative 2 times negative 1 is plus 2. Simplify that, we get 12x plus 4 all over negative 5x minus 1, which is clearly not x, so this is going to be a no. Number 10, f of g of x. So all of this, substitute it into there. So we're going to get 3 plus 2/3 all out of 3/2 x minus 9/2. Okay, so we're going to distribute this to both. 3 plus 2/3 times 3/2, you guys, this is 1, so just going to have x. 2/3 times negative 9/2, you guys. Well, if you guys take a look, this 2 will cancel with this 2. This 3 will cancel with this 9, and then there's just going to be a 3 on top. So then it's just minus 3, which is just x. Now we're going to test g of f of x. So substituting this whole thing in for that x. So 3/2 times 3 plus 2/3 x minus 9/2. Distribute this to both. So we're going to have 3 times 3/2 is 9 over 2. Okay, 3/2 times 2/3, those cancel, so you're just going to have the x. And this is just going to be x. So are these inverses? Yes. Alright, now just finding your guys' inverses from here. So this is going to be a y. You switch them. Now you solve for y. So add 2 to both sides. raise both sides to the third power. So we're going to have 9 plus 2 to the third is equal to y minus 2. Add 2 to both sides. N plus 2 to the third plus 2 is equal to y. Change y to be f inverse of n is equal to all of that. Okay, 12. Change h of x to be y. Switch the variables. Now solve for your new y, so subtract both sides by 1. Multiply both sides by the reciprocal. So we're going to have, well, so these are going to cancel. Alright, so you guys, you can have, and remember the y is just going to be f inverse of x. So there's going to be two forms, right? It's either going to look like this, or you could distribute that to both, and it's either going to look like this. Just so that you guys know. Okay. This one, change f of x to be y. Switch the variables. Now solve for y. So we're going to raise both sides to the 5th power. Subtract 2 to both sides. And change y to be f inverse of x. And lastly, 14. Change that to f of n to be y. Switch the variables. Solve for the new y. So we're going to add both to by 2. Cube, raise both sides to the 3rd power. Subtract both sides by 2. And then that y is going to be our f inverse of n. Alright, so there you guys have it. Alright, keep on working.